So, I don't know about you, but I've gotten way too used to driving with a rear backup camera. So much so that I physically cannot drive without one. So when I got my 2008 STi and it came with an old 6 CD changer and no backup camera, I knew one of the first things that I had to do was to swap out that radio and get a rear backup cam. So I was pretty excited when the sponsor of this video, ATOTO, reached out and asked if I wanted to try their 7-inch A6PF head unit. They also sent me a rear backup camera and a wireless Android Auto adapter. Now, personally, I've never heard of them before, but after seeing all of the positive reviews that they have on Amazon, I decided to install it and show you guys what you can expect. So let's go pop this thing in.
So here's everything that came from ATOTO that we're going to install today. We have the 7-inch touchscreen radio, installation wires, USB connections for Apple CarPlay and Android Auto, microphone, rear backup camera and its installation wires, ATOTO's wireless Android Auto adapter, and the OEM harness to radio installation adapter and dash surround kit, which I had to purchase separately, but they're universal.
You know what's funny? I actually have never turned on this radio since I bought the car, so kind of curious. Burned Adele CD. Hangover Part 2 soundtrack. R. Kelly Greatest Hits. Tiesto Club Life. Ooh, mystery mixtape. But anyway, let's yank this out. Alright, so these are the 3 harnesses that come with the radio, and this is the harness adapter that we bought. It looks a little intimidating, but really it isn't, because really all we are doing is merging the same colors, and also everything is labeled wires, and then also on these little tags right here. So really it's just a matter of matching, splicing together the wires here. These other wires look to be like some extra stuff for the radio specifically, so we don't have to worry about merging any of these. So let's go ahead and match all these wires up. So to make things easy when I'm connecting the wires, I got these solder seal wire connectors, and there's no crimping or there's no actual soldering involved. All you do is connect the wires and then heat it up with a heat gun, and it should seal it watertight, as well as make the connection with this like solder that melts. I'll leave a link in the description below if you're interested in getting these wire connectors. Alright, I just finished wiring up everything. These solder connectors are awesome, by the way. So next is we're going to go ahead and run the wires through the car. I also got the rear backup camera wiring connected up as well. There's a couple of extra wires that we didn't use. This is for like steering wheel controls and stuff like that. If you want to do that, you can. They're labeled as well, so easy to connect. And I just wrapped up all the loose wiring that we're not going to be using. So let's go ahead and run this through the car. Okay, whew. All right, that took a lot longer than I was hoping it would take, but I ran the rear backup camera wires all the way back to the hatch. So how I did that was basically I took a light, shoved it up here, and looked for where the light would appear, right here in the opening of the radio. Then I basically fished it through the trim over here, through the seatbelt plastic cover here, ran it all the way through here, tucked it out right about here, and then ran it between the seat. The line came out through here. Then I took all of this trim out, ran the wires up, naturally where all this other wiring harness is, into the headliner. You have to run it through this grommet so you can get it into the hatch. And the only real way I did that was I basically had to cut the grommet in half, shove the wires through. We'll go ahead and we'll tape this up later on. As you can see, the wire now comes out. I'm gonna run it through where all the other wiring is in the hatch. Then right about here is the license plate light. So that's where I'm gonna run the wires. You can see the camera is mounted up here. And I had to basically notch the light holder so that I can fit the wire through. So you can see that little notch there. Then a little bit of a dab of glue just to keep it all weather tight. And that's pretty much the wiring. So I'm gonna try and test it real quick before we button everything back up. But yeah, finally all of the wiring for the rear backup camera has been run through the car. All right, so I tidied up all of the wiring and we got the brackets installed. Just note for the 2008 STi, and there might be other models that are similar too, there are adapter brackets that come with the head unit, and then you reuse your old radio brackets and just put those together. All right, right, all the trim is in, the radio is wired up, rear backup camera is set up, all the trim is put back together. All right, so let's start with some things that I don't like about the head unit. The first is that there are no physical volume buttons. I'm the type of person that likes volume control knobs on my radios, and this doesn't have it. It has buttons on the side, and the problem also is that they go all the way to the edge of the head unit, so they're kind of obstructed when you have all the trim on. Also, as you're scrolling through the menus and clicking on things in the head unit, there's a loud audible like beep, and it's really loud, and you can't adjust the volume on it. You can either turn it off or have it on. But now let's get into the things that I do like about this head unit, and I'm being completely honest with you here. The first thing you'll notice is that the head unit is actually really fast and responsive. This is not typical for radios within this price range, so it was really nice to see. The second thing is I have stock speakers in this car, and they're not great. And with the stock radio, they're definitely not great. But with the ATOTO head unit, it actually provides more power to the speakers, which actually makes them sound a lot better than they are. Third thing is Bluetooth. I mean, in this day and age, everything is through Bluetooth, so good to see that it has that. And if your phone has hotspot tethering, you can connect the head unit to Wi-Fi and, use apps like YouTube, Chrome, pretty much anything that needs an internet connection, you'll be able to do if you have hotspot tethering. The head unit as it is supports Apple CarPlay either through wired or wireless, but if you have Android Auto, you're gonna either have to use a wired connection or you have to get their Android Auto wireless adapter. It's not immediately obvious what app you can use for CarPlay and Android Auto, but I can show you right here. The head unit, of course, does support a rear backup camera and also an optional front-facing camera. There's also an app for live rear camera view, so it's almost like a digital rear view mirror. And there's also some other apps that I probably won't use, but you might find useful, like tire pressure monitor systems, but you'll have to buy optional accessories to get those things to work. The head unit also comes preloaded with a couple of cool apps. One, for example, is the Torque app, which is usually a paid app. You will have to get a wireless OBD2 dongle to get it to work, but once you do have it up, you can read things like check engine lights, and you can also view certain parameters of your car like engine coolant temperature. Once again, I want to thank ATOTO for sending me this awesome head unit. I am super happy how it turned out. All the links are again in the description below. Thanks again for watching. See you in the next one. Peace.